state of exception, J-spec, and T.
Okay.
Okay, on the solvency, the second part talked about Hamden. The argument was that there's no proceedings in Hamden said that what happened didn't happen, except with our argument about Hamden, we're talking about Hamden not in each case because Bush was in control of Congress. But it's not the position in the status quo whatsoever now, so that you can flow that through the second argument there about Hamden. Then their next argument was our argument was Bush ignores the checks. No, the courts can't solve. They just talk about how the president's not likely to avoid courts. They give a card for this. Yet this, their card, it's talking about past presidents. It's not Bush specific, so therefore their card does not apply to this case.
Ours is Bush specific.
Ours is Bush specific, and theirs is not. Therefore, you can flow through that card. Then you can group our next three cards, which they did talking about the terrorism. They said that it basically doesn't matter that they solve for the separation of. For the state of exception, yeah, they basically consider that terrorism is a bad thing, so therefore this is an impact worth reviewing in the round, and as in cross-examination, they admitted that debate is about deciding if the plan is a good or bad thing by looking at the effects that's happening, and this is definitely a huge effect in the round, a huge impact in the round that you need to look at, that you need to win. And our last argument on this also was the extraordinary rendition, and they said that you don't have to look at the effects of the plan, you just fiat the plan, yet they cross-examination again, just bringing back to that they admitted that you need to look at the effects, and that determines if the plan is a good or bad thing. So then when you look at the effects of this is basically talking about how the plan actually won't have any good effect whatsoever. It won't actually do anything because it won't actually be put into a plan. So therefore, that takes out their solvency there once they admit that. Once they don't argue against that. Moving on to the state of exception, we have two basic arguments on this. You can look at their argument on this against all of our Agamben, talking about Agamben is bad. They basically say that they solve for it with cosmopolitanism, which is basically talking what they said. Yeah, when you look at their last solvency card, Apia 06, they said, this is in the tagline, this debate round fosters cosmopolitanism in round. So therefore, by this conversation, by this in round, we are solving for their state of exception. So therefore, you do not actually need to affirm the plan. You don't actually need to overrule Kieran to attain what they want to attain to combat the state of exception and have the cosmopolitanism. Therefore, when you look at their plan, it's talking about the test case. So yes, we can have the test case come to the courts. You can have the court hear the arguments, which is cosmopolitanism, which solves the state of exception, and yet you don't actually need to. And then the court can rule in concurrence with Kieran and doesn't need to overrule Kieran. This accomplishes their entire case. Yet when you look at the bad effects that would happen if you didn't have the plan go into effect, it shows that affirming the plan is not good, and we can solve everything of their case without actually affirming the plan. So therefore, their entire so therefore, that's the first argument on there. And the second argument on there is that talking about Agamben and how it leads to totalitarianism, which also that leads to genocide, having these utopian visions. It's Marcos 03 that arose mostly hope that once the Latin American harmonization were completed and integration in the American continent would be possible, a utopian ideal of universal society nourished or work. He believed that in the future humanity would be organized as well as it is through this immortality. Economy, culture, and science, the state would guarantee fundamental rights to each person irrespective of nationality, yet the realities of the 19th and 20th century challenge for immense vision. Balkanized Latin American societies fostered their national interests, racial bigotry led to genocide in Nazi Germany and Yugoslavia, religious, economic, and political radicalisms overshadowed international relations, readily dismissible as utopian constitutional studies was forgotten. Therefore, let's talk about how their Agamben, how their view of utopia there actually leads to genocide, which is a huge impact in Europe. Moving on to J-spec. Their entire argument against this J-spec was that we fiat. Yet this is not acceptable because we're talking about how this is in round what we need to accomplish first before we look at their plan or look at anything else. Because there's two parts to debate. There's the part about the plan and what would happen there. There's also a part about the implementation. Because implementation is 90% a part of debate because we need to debate about the process and we need to learn about the actual process of what's happening. There's two parts. So therefore, once they say we fiat this, they're just completely leaving out an entire aspect of debate, entirely talking about the implementation process. And therefore, when they're avoiding this entire part about the J-spec, you can flow through our 5 points on why failure to specify Hearst debate, because 1, it prevents education about decision making. The court is 90 individuals who come together to decide appeals. The process by which they do so is the process we're supposed to be learned about. 2, it avoids solvency debate. Who decides determines the implementation process such as enforcement. 3, it kills counterplan ground. We debate about the best way to overrule this precedent by advocating alternative coalitions. 4, it kills dissent ground. The court process arguments depend upon the way decisions are perceived through the positions of their justices. And 5, it makes after conditional. Their 1AC advocacy was not resolved because they did not have a firm course of action defined by the American Heritage Dictionary. Their position allows two-way shifts to specify the individual justices. This is not topical. And we already said this is a voting issue for fairness in education. So therefore, when you flow through all 5 of those points, you see how this is a horrible thing that they can't just say, we fiat through this. Then why don't you say you fiat through that all the disads won't happen? You need to actually address this argument, and they didn't. So therefore, you need to vote against them for fairness in education. Moving on to the topicality. On topicality too, we should win on topicality alone when you're looking at this. They said that they accepted our definition. They did not offer any counter definitions. They said that the basis that they're overruling their hearing decision on is cosmopolitanism. 1, they admitted they hadn't read the decision. 2, cosmopolitanism isn't mentioned in the decision whatsoever. So therefore, when you look at that, and you look at our definition, which they agreed to in H.com 06, saying that it's concerning the identical question of law. So therefore, when you look at the identical question of law, and cosmopolitanism isn't the reason the Supreme Court decided ex parte hearing on, then you see that they admitted that they are non-topical. And this is a voting issue for unfairness in education. You can flow through our standards that 1, limits allowed to overrule on grounds unrelated explodes the topic. 2, extra topicality. And 3, no solvency because they overruled on international law anyway. The Supreme Court cannot take international law and overrule cases here on that. So therefore, when you look at that, you need to vote against them because of the topicality.